Warnings in place into California now from Hurricane Hilary. So what was once a very powerful storm still has quite a bit of strength with it. A category 3 at this point at 22 degrees north, 113.4 degrees west, moving more northerly now in the latest information. Well, here it is right now as of 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, this August 19th, 190 kilometers per hour, 28.1 inches in pressure. Moving north-northwest there at 15 miles per hour or 24 kilometers per hour. A category 3 still at this point, but we do expect full weakening now from this point forward. Here's its current position displayed on the map with its wind field, which is still quite significant as well. 230 nautical miles to the northeast, which means that the tropical storm force winds are just about off the coast there of the Baja California Sur coastline. 372 kilometers from Cabo San Lucas, 393 from La Paz, 1222 from Tijuana, 1244 from San Diego, and 1415 from Los Angeles. A hurricane warning in effect for parts of the western coast of the Baja California Peninsula, and tropical storm warning now extending right the way up the whole coastline into California towards Point Mugu. Also a tropical storm warning for the entire east coast of the Baja California Peninsula, and at least that on the west coast. So it is weakening and it will continue that trend, so we're still mainly concerned about heavy rainfall, which is expected to be a very large threat. National Hurricane Center note that it will be catastrophic locally in some locations. Rainfall of over 10 inches is possible in some areas of higher elevation. And of course, some of these areas will be getting very high amounts of rain compared to what they normally receive. In the desert region of the southwest United States, it could be an enormous rainfall event. So you can see it there moving through very quickly, as you saw that on the screen there. Blink and you miss it almost, and it shoots off through the interior of the western United States, through Nevada, and actually dies off towards the north, probably not far from the Canadian border. You'll probably completely lose track of it by then. Well, here's the estimates right now, and interestingly the Dvorak estimates have fallen quite a bit. SSEC down to 110 miles per hour, NOAA way down at 85 miles per hour, but obviously common sense prevails, and it is clearly a stronger storm than that. The wind lag for the weakening trend will certainly be taking place, and to be honest, on satellite imagery I think it still looks like at least a strong category 2, and that's why it's still marked down as a category 3. So not much wriggle room in the forecast track, as you can clearly see here, with those tropical storm force winds very near the coastline and possibly over in some areas, and that hurricane landfall expected along that western coast, and then it will shoot on through to Southern California and beyond. So here's the GFS model this morning, and you can see that pretty much a similar situation, probably a category 1 by the time it makes landfall, maybe moderate to high-end category 1, and then it just goes poof very quickly there. In the course of the next 3 days, it completely dies off as it moves well inland over that really large expanse of land in the United States, high elevations as well, which doesn't help it too. There it is, tropical storm force winds move through very quickly. If you do receive tropical storm force winds in California, it probably won't last for very long, maybe just a couple of hours before it continues to move on northwards into Nevada, and maybe even beyond we'll get some tropical storm force winds. Here is a simulated simulated radar imagery of it, and you can certainly see some of those yellow and red spots there showing very high amounts of rainfall. Of course, we already had some strong storms, the convective tops that were moving through that area yesterday evening that we were watching. So certainly we're not. It is quite a substantial rainfall threat, and we could see exceedances of some of those forecast rainfall amounts, and we're currently expecting that the maximum rainfall could be in the southern Nevada region, so we are very concerned about that area, Las Vegas, and perhaps a little bit further south to there as well. Here are the rainfall totals on the map as well. Southern Baja, really not looking at very much now, according to the latest update. At least that's on top of what's already happened, though. So we're seeing another maybe 3 or 4 inches of rainfall there. In the northern mountains of Baja California, probably a little bit more than that, towards 6 or 7 inches of rainfall, 150 millimeters. And the highest amounts now we are expecting in the mountains towards the northeastern part, northeast of Los Angeles, near Las Vegas, not far from Death Valley actually, getting up to around 7 inches of rainfall there, which is certainly quite astounding for that region. Very dry areas that are involved, and even high amounts of rain further towards the northeast there as well that we saw as well, areas that don't normally get tropical cyclone remnants. Sea surface temperatures will be doing the business for a little bit longer, but not really now. They're about to fall off a huge cliff, and the storm already feeling the effects of waning conditions around it. It's really going to turn a lot worse for Hilary very soon. By the time it does get towards California, sea surface temperatures are only 19 degrees Celsius. Gulf of California, though, hot all the way up there to the mouth of the Colorado River. So here is the latest satellite imagery of the storm this morning, and its western eye wall is starting to fall apart. Eastern side is still looking very good on this latest satellite imagery, showing some really decent cloud tops in there, probably into the at least into the minus 70s. But the eye itself is starting to really struggle as we look at this latest imagery, slightly glitched albeit, but the storm's direction looks pretty clear. It's around it is nearly due north. It's about 12 degrees away, moving to the west of north, and dry air there onto the western side as well. It will definitely be dry on the western side of the storm compared to the eastern side, which is really going to be important as to where exactly the storm tracks, because if you are east of the center of the storm, then you will be in for a lot of rainfall and probably the strongest winds as well. But the best we can figure out so far is probably the storm tracking just east of San Diego and Los Angeles, San Bernardino, and then on northwards.